Hey everyone, so today I'm going to show you how to join squares using single crochets only and to get these results. Okay, so this is now a finished front and back panel which has already been joined, and this is how I'm going to join. So I'm going to move in this pattern that I am showing you, and that is how I'm going to join, but I'm going to show you how I did it. So you move across. From there you're going to move towards this side and then go up and come down using the cream one and move to this other end, and that is basically how we're just going to do it. Okay, it's very simple if you have grasped it. So I hope you have seen the pattern that I'm working with. And the good thing is that we're going to just use single crochets to join the whole of these squares. That is why they look the way they look. We have not used the one for the clusters. Okay, yeah, and without further ado, let's get into it. So these are the squares, and this is where we're going to start at the very bottom, like the pattern that I have shown you. Okay, so remember, we're going to use single crochets throughout to join the squares. Okay, so now I'm going to go into the chain 2 space and just pick one of the stitches like that, and then I'm supposed to bring up a loop, but I haven't made a slip knot yet, so that's a slip knot. And then I'm going to pull up this loop into the stitch. So I'm also weaving in the ends as I go, so each time I meet an end I'm going to weave it in to reduce the time spent while weaving in, right? Yeah, so I'm going to chain one and then start making single crochets in each and every stitch of this side of the square while weaving in the end. Okay, so that is a single crochet. It is not very visible, but if you know a single crochet, that is what we are doing in each and every stitch of one side of the square. Okay, so I'm just going to make single crochets in on that square, on the three sides of the square. So you will try to be very keen, especially in the chain 1 spaces. You have to ensure that that space is also accounted for. You have to place a single crochet in that space. Okay, in the stitch I was working it in the stitches. So I have gone all around through the whole of these three sides to make single crochets, and that is how they look like, right? So in the chain 2 space here, I went ahead and did only one single crochet. I did not move to the next one. So from there on I'm going to move to the next square, and the next square I'm going to do single crochet to join using a single crochet, not in this the last one, but the second one. Yeah, there. So there is where I am going to make my first single crochet. So pull through these 2 loops, and then in the very first space of our last single crochet, you're going to bring this loop up like so, and then we are going to move to our first the one that I'm showing, our first double crochet of the cluster. So you're going to do a single crochet there and then move to the next single crochet on this other end of the brown square, and pull up the loop like so. Yeah, so that we have worked on the first stitch of the first double crochet. Okay, so we're moving to the second double crochet stitch. You're going to bring up the loop, pull through the 2 loops, and then you're going to go into the second, the second single crochet, and pull up the loop, and then we move to the third one, the third stitch, make a single crochet, and then in the third stitch of the brown square you bring up the loop. Okay, and then into the chain 1 space, make a single crochet, and then into the next single crochet you're going to pull up the loop. So we are working on the brown side, we have single crochets, and this side we have stitches. Okay, and don't forget the very first stitch of the cluster, the very first stitch of the first double crochet. Okay, so just repeat what I'm doing in the video. Yeah, that is how it looks like. So you will have to ensure that each side is aligned with each other, like each cluster has to align with each other, and the spaces have to align with each other. Okay, so you have to check every stitch and ensure that they are aligned. So I went ahead and finished the 2 squares, joining the 2 squares, and now I'm going to move across the cream square with single crochets in each stitch of that side. So here I am just trying to finish the last cluster with the other cluster of the brown square. So just ensure that each stitch is aligned with the other stitch, so that you don't get a square which is not very linear. Yeah, that is how it looks like. And then I'm going to work single crochets until I reach this other side of the square, of the cream square. So I'm going to work single crochets in each and every stitch. Do not forget any stitch. That is what you need to be very keen with the stitches in this pattern. So just check how I'm working on, at least the cream yarn is visible, so at least check how I move through the stitches, and you will follow the same pattern while making yours. And guys, remember, if anytime you find a loose end, you have to ensure that it's gone. Weave it in, and this will make your time, it will easen your time. Okay, because you will not have to weave it in later on. So that is what I was doing, and it really turned out nice. So in the chain 2 space, just remember to move to only one stitch, and then you're going to move to the next square. Do not move to the second stitch of the chain 2 space. Okay, Now look, we have joined the two squares, and now we are going to go ahead and join the third square. So we are also going to get to the nearer stitch of the chain 2 space and get into it. So this is not very visible, but I know you now know what we are doing. So in the first single crochet, you're going to pull up the loop, pull up this loop in the very first single crochet, and then move to the first double crochet stitch, make a single crochet and bring up this loop, and then move to the second stitch and make a single crochet and then bring up the loop in the second stitch. So in the brown one, we make a single crochet in the third stitch, and then in the third stitch of the single crochet, you also bring up this loop and move to the chain 1 space. Okay, you just have to ensure that they are aligned. So when you move to the first space of the chain 1 space, you also move in the space in the next single crochet of the chain 1 space of the cream. So I don't know if you understand, but I hope that you see the video, what I'm doing in the video. So I'm going to continue and move ahead and make single crochets. So after joining those two sides, now we are just going to make single crochets. Remember the one that we did in the cream yarn. So we're going to move ahead and make single crochets in these two sides of the brown yarn. Okay, just ensure that you're making each single crochet in each stitch so that you are aligned. So I have gone ahead and made the single crochets until this point here. So remember to only go into the first stitch of the chain 1 space and then move to the next one, to the next square. So this square, this is the last square from the bottom. So in this chain 2 space, this is the stitch we are working in. So you insert your hook and make a single crochet, and then in the very first single crochet that we made of the brown square, you're going to pull up this loop and then go ahead into the very first stitch of the cluster, the one on top of the first double crochet. Okay, this one. So you're going to go in and make another single crochet and move into the second single crochet on this other side and pull up the loop, and then move to the third one and on and so forth. Okay, and do not forget the chain 1 space. This chain 1 space is very crucial. It is very easy to forget. Do not forget. And also the first stitch of the first double crochet of the cluster, the one that I'm moving into right now. This one I'm just pulling a loop, and then the first one, this one is which I'm talking about. Okay, do not forget that one. So I think now you can see what I've been doing, and now I'm just going to go ahead and continue with this pattern and then show you. Yeah, now we are done with that, and I'm supposed to go ahead and do single crochets, and then we are going to join the next row. So this is how we are going to go. That is the pattern I'm showing you. And then up and down, down, up. Yeah, so let's see how it goes. So I'm going to go ahead and do single crochets in each and every stitch of this side of the cream yarn. Okay, So we are moving to the second row of the squares, and this is how I'm going to join. It's just the same thing that we have been doing, so don't think it's very different. It's just that we're moving to the next row. So I'm just finding my first the stitch nearer to the cluster so that I make my single crochet and continue with the same pattern. Yeah, so I'm going to continue with the pattern this way, and then I'm going to go up with single crochets alone and then come down joining the cream yarn. Okay, so the cream yarn is already joined, so I'm just going to show you how I move to this next side where I'm supposed to join the cream yarn with the lower square. So just watch the video keenly. I don't know how to explain this one, but just watch the video. I hope it will show you some what I did in this corner. But I'll just be ensuring that each stitch of the upper square and the lower square is aligned with each other. Okay, so the pattern remains just the same way that we were doing, and we'll just be ensuring that one cluster of the cream square is aligned with the cluster of the brown square on the lower side. Okay, it has to be very seamless. Okay, so I'm going to leave you to continue doing that. The pattern remains the same, and this is how I'm going to go. So be keen on checking the pattern on how I'm going to go about it. Okay, so I'm going to show you how I'm going to move from the second row to the third row up here. Okay, so from this end here we're going to go up with single crochets and move across the cream yarn and then back to the brown yarn and down that way. And then from the brown yarn you're going to move to this brown yarn on the lower side and then go back and up and move to the other end with single crochets and across, and then to the cream yarn again and then back with the brown yarn and move across. That is just the pattern. Okay, and to the brown yarn and to the cream yarn, back and back and move ahead, and then from there you're going to just join with single crochets all through. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and do that and also show you guys each step of the way. Okay, don't worry. So if you somehow get stuck in doing this, I just made this to help you out if you get stuck. Okay, you can always come back to check each and every step. I made each and every step using single crochets. So that's how you join your squares as you go with single crochets. I really love how it looks with the single crochets. I don't know how you guys find it. You can tell me in the comment section if you also love this method. Myself, I think I've fallen in love with it. It's beautiful and also it's a little bit tedious, but look at how neat it looks like. It's really nice, right? Yeah, so that's the results. So this was the project I was working on, and look how it turned out. I love how single crochets look on the granny squares. So if you also do love it, please do subscribe, like and comment, and see you on the next video. Also, the video of this sweater is ready on my channel. Check it out. The link is on the description box below. Bye.